What's up, everybody? I'm Fernando Mastrangelo. Welcome to Design Discord. Today, I'm speaking with Jean Lin, the founder of Colony. It's a really cool gallery here in New York that has a very interesting business model that we get into, a residency program that they developed, and a really cool book, What We Keep. I'm really excited to have her here. I've known her for a long time. Jean, welcome. As I was researching, I mean, I know you. We've known each other for 10 years.
Probably 10 years.
Yeah, probably 10 years. And
it makes me feel old.
It does, but it also makes me realize like we're now becoming those people that have been in the industry that long.
Totally.
You know what I mean? So
Yes.
we have a lot of history. But things that I didn't know were that, one, I am a kid of immigrants as well.
Oh.
And we have a similar...
Where are your parents from?
My parents are from Uruguay.
Oh.
But they immigrated here in the 70s. So I grew up in the 80s, and I had, you know, and there's a certain thing about growing up as an immigrant kid.
Yes.
And also, like, we both kind of ended up in this design industry that, like, I had no exposure to that as a kid. Right.
Yes.
So I found that, and then also you are doing something that I've dipped my toes into a little bit with In Good Company, a show about emerging designers.
Yes.
So your story really resonates with me in general when it comes to that. So I was like, oh, this is cool because we have a lot of similarities, I think. And there might be some cultural reasons that we sometimes do what we do. And maybe we could talk a little bit about that. But but I want to just zoom back.
Back it up.
To Hurricane Sandy.
All the way back to
Hurricane
because
Sandy. That's kind of the genesis of your story.
Yeah.
I mean, so... yeah, let's go back to Reclaim NYC.
Okay, yes.
And, you know, what essentially happened, because basically from a charity show, essentially, right? A show to kind of generate, you know, some funds.
Yeah.
You ended up, you know.
I jumped in.
Yeah.
To the deep end.
So, yeah, you did. So.
Holding scraps of wood.
Exactly.
So Hurricane Sandy, I was actually thinking about this on the way here, 2012.
Yes.
And I had been working as an editor, writer, trend forecaster. I went to school for design.
Right.
Before that, I went to school for psychology. I always had this idea, like, I'm going to have my own business. I'm going to be a fashion designer. I'm going to do this. I'm going to have a blog. I started a blog thinking it's called Otto, not a good sign if you have to spell it. Right. But
I love that name, actually.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, it was, you know, anyway, I always had this like itch to be independent, self-employed. But I never really found my niche until Hurricane Sandy hit. It was kind of like a fugue state that we kind of went into as a community, because so many of the folks that we were working with and I was covering as an editor and becoming friends with were affected by the storm. Downtown Brooklyn, Red Hook was crazy. And I think we were just like, what can we do to help? There's the city, half the city was like, didn't have power for weeks, I think. And so there's also all these felled trees, which was kind of the genesis of the idea to make work out of debris from the storm and sell it for charity, which turned out to be a great hook. I wasn't exactly savvy in that way at that point, even though I was working in editorial. It was much more about like new work, churning out like finding the press releases and figuring out what the hook was, and the trend forecasting thing was a whole different thing. But like I wasn't savvy to realize like how good that was gonna be, and like
that hook.
It was so juicy. Like it was so perfect. Like everyone covered it. New York Times, like everyone that now I'm like, hello. Like
sometimes you can't plan those things. You know what I mean? There's just these kind of moments.
So that happens, and we raised a lot of money. We caused kind of a stir, and but like on the personal side, I just felt like all of the things happened, right? Like all of the things I wanted. I felt like I was doing my own work. I was making a mark. I was working with people that I really respected and wanted to be around, like personally as people.
Yeah.
And yeah, and and people were listening and people were paying attention, and it felt also like no one else at that time was really doing that in that way of like realizing there's this like very, very hungry, very wide community of independent designers who are sort of starting out or nascent in their studios, like young, hungry, creative, and not really finding a home with some of the galleries and some of the showrooms that existed at the time.
It was also a smaller design world at that time.
Yes, much smaller.
But powerful. Something was percolating at that time. You know, I started in 2013, so I know the energy that was going on around that time, and it was like...
The way I say it is somewhere in the 2010s, we got really brave. There was a group of us that were like, this is going to be dumb. It doesn't matter. Like common sense aside, we are so like driven and like called to make work brand new.
Do you think that also, sometimes I relate this to like the rise of Instagram, because when Instagram was still cool, when it was you're still possible to like, you know, it was kind of right at that same time we're riding that wave upward. And independent, you're able to like kind of show what you do.
I think it was like a combination of like all of the things. It was like the superstorm, Sandy, if you there was the makers, the designers who were like throwing caution to the wind, starting their own thing, making their own work. There was clients who were hungry for fresh work that wasn't necessarily coming out of some of our friends over in Europe.
Yeah. No, totally.
Right?
Totally.
And then there was infrastructure. Like Colony, I count it as part of that. Like infrastructure started coming up. Like Sight Unseen started around that time. There was that confluence of all these factors that came together in that like 2010s to 2020.
That decade is so special for collectible and design in general. Yeah, especially in New York.
And like shows were coming up that weren't
fairs,
tied
shows.
To anything else.
There was also a lot of design press going on at the time. You know, Surface had their magazines, still, like a physical magazine. There was, you know, Wall Street Journal had a big section on something. Yeah, there was a lot of energy around it.
Yes, and I think it was the sort of genesis of now we're in this place where we're maybe the veterans a little bit, and some of us have not continued. Some of us are still continuing. Some of us are sort of diversifying. But yeah, that time was really special. It was something that you feel like, oh, this wouldn't exist. Like I think the young designers now, like I don't think they fully understand like how important that time was, because I fully understand how important the Future Perfects, Lindsay, David Weeks, BDDW, like I fully understand their role in making what we did possible. But I think that there is maybe a gap in understanding of the designers that are coming up now, of understanding like the history of like what led to make this a thing now, right?
I agree with that. And we can talk more about that, because I think that there's something psychologically going on there with this generation, maybe.
Yeah, you know? And I also think there's something to talk about there with the younger generation, but also like our generation, we're not like cruising. Do you know what I mean? Like it's still a struggle. So it's like,
in terms of that,
you know what I mean? Like there's
no one tells you, you know, what your career was going to feel like 10, 15 years in, because at the beginning, everything is new, fresh. There's all this new. Yeah. But 10 years into a career it's a different beast. And,
absolutely. And you think like I remember signing the first lease for Colony and them being like, do you want 5 years or 10 years? And I was like, 10 fucking years?
That's like
Are you
a lifetime.
crazy?
Yeah.
Like, there's no way. I don't even know if this business is going to last for 2 years, you know? Like, I remember I had to put a personal guarantee on it, and I was like, this feels very irresponsible.
In fact, that was something that I wanted to talk to you about, because I think that was super courageous. And, you know, reading about how you did that is like, you saved your own money. You worked a job.
I worked many jobs. Yes.
Thinking, I'm going to do this other thing. And you didn't come, you know, it's not like you don't come from a wealthy family where you had fun. Right. You come from what you like to call as normal.
Yes.
And yet you had the courage to do that. Like, you know, what the hell was going on?
I think that there was, first of all, I want to say, like, I didn't come from a wealthy family, but I certainly had privilege.
Okay.
And I had opportunities that other people
like good education.
Great education.
Right. Okay.
You know, like, etc.
Okay.
So I want to say that because I think I, in the past, have maybe even just to myself, like, discounted that as a factor because it felt so hard. Like, everything has felt so hard.
But you paid for all of those things.
I paid for it.
You guaranteed, right? So
yes.
It wasn't like, hey, mom, dad, I'm trying to do this thing.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't like that. And
no, it was not like that.
Right.
I paid for it myself. It was crazy and it was very scary.
Yeah.
But again, like, that first show, it just ignited something in me that was like, this is what I want my life to be. Like, I don't want to work for somebody. I don't want to work for a large corporation. I just don't want that. Like, I just didn't, I knew that if I didn't take the risks, I wouldn't be able to even consider having that life. So yeah, I heard somebody one time say people underestimate the reward and they overestimate the risk. So then that keeps them from taking the risk. And I think I just never really had that. I never really had that roadblock. I saw the risk. I knew it was risky, but I saw the reward, which was a life of where I could
be the master of your domain.
Yes, but also like live with passion. Like, I see so many people who don't have passion in their life from 9 to 5, and they're happy. And that's fine. And that's their life. And that's great. But that's just not, I knew that's not what I wanted for myself. And I knew I couldn't be happy that way. So I saw the reward as like a life that like actually mattered. I felt like I could do something that actually mattered to the people that actually mattered to me.
Right.
And that's why I took the risk. And it was crazy.
Yeah. I mean, I guess let's talk a little bit about those first couple of years. I mean,
sure.
What did you sign? You signed a 5-year lease or a 10-year?
I signed a 5-year lease.
You did, okay.
I personally guaranteed it. I didn't have any financials to really back it up, but I did have the amount of money. When you sign a commercial lease, which I didn't know at the time before, but you have to come up with basically 4 months rent up front because at least 2 months security deposit and then first month and last month.
But you have kind of a cool story, no, about this lease. About getting
What's
this
the
lease.
story? I don't
about the people that rented to you.
Yeah,
right? They were kind of like cheering you on.
Yeah, exactly. So basically a normal commercial lease in any other neighborhood besides Chinatown. I mean, I called it Tribeca because it was south of the Canal Street.
To get people to come. They're like, yeah, Chinatown at that time.
Like, we had an entrance on Lispenard, okay?
Okay.
But like a normal like commercial company that owns a commercial real estate I think they require 3 months security and first and last, and then like the financials to show that you can pay your rent. And they were like, the building that I rented from was just a Chinese family,
right? And
so my landlord was the son of the Chinese family.
Okay.
And
like,
they asked for my financials because that's what you do. And I gave them a spreadsheet that said like 0 on it, basically. And like I had nothing to show, you know?
Yeah.
But they were like, they were like, okay, well, like you're starting this business. And I was like, yeah, this is what I think is going to happen. This is what I hope happens. I mean, they didn't know what I was talking about,
Right.
you know? And the dad, when I went to sign the lease and give them my check, the dad was like, Chinese. That's what he said to me. He like, actually, I'll never forget.
That's
He
so
like
funny.
looked at me.
That's
He's like,
cute.
Chinese business.
That's
I'm
so
like,
cute.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and it felt so good. And honestly, like I loved, you know, the building was falling apart. It, you know, it's, you don't get all the perks of having like a big
Right, of course.
corporation as a landlord, but it was a really, really sweet space, and I miss it, honestly. Sometimes it was like a special place to start. I actually saw the space. It was a wreck. There was like no floors, there was rusted out ceilings and no lights, so it was like dark.
Oh my God.
And like the floor was pitched 14 inches.
Holy cow.
Yeah. Like
So you're like,
pitched. Like you could like
put
you could
everything
like
on.
drop a bag of marbles on one side and they would end up in the corner.
Hilarious.
So but I had looked at so many spaces at that point and I was like, this is the one. If it's not
That's
here,
cool.
it's nowhere. And they already had an offer on it. It was crazy. But yeah.
So then you
Fate.
like basically take a bunch of people on coffee dates.
Yes. You've really done your research.
And you're like, do this with me, please.
Yeah.
I think we can do something special. So I want to get into the model because it's also like a very, and I wanted to, it's like, was that did you know what you were doing back then? Is that the model that you developed then?
That was the model from day negative.
Okay,
I would
cool.
say like,
So,
I started working
Day
about
negative.
a year before I started
wow.
signed the lease and talking to the designers and saying like, this is the idea. This is what do you think people would pay for like a co-op fee?
Okay. Yeah,
What
so
do you
let's
think-
tell people what the model, because the model is what makes Colony really special. And, you know,
Yeah.
like you've kind of broken the bounds of what, you know, traditional gallery.
Thank you for saying that.
No, you have.
Thank you. So the model is based on a cooperative. It's not a real cooperative. People don't have ownership. And it's still, for 12 years, it's been the same model. Everybody pays in with a co-op fee. It's kind of like rent. I'm not going to say how much it is, but I will say it's under $1,000 a month. And then it's 15% commission.
Wow. I've heard you say how razor thin your margins are with that business, and we'll get into how you've diversified that. But I mean, how?
Yes. So it's crazy. Now I know the business, and I'm like, those people who told me it was crazy back then were right. It's not.
Why were you so staunch on that 50, like staying on that? You know, because that's.
I wanted the best designers.
Okay.
I wanted the best designers to not leave. And I knew that those terms were
attractive.
Yeah. They're
Very
kind of
attractive,
like Teflon. Like you can't, those terms are, especially now after like 12 years of work and of sales and like new space, everything, like there's almost no conversation there. It's just like these are the terms. You're welcome. You know? And some people can't even do that, and that's okay. But if they can't do that, they're probably not right for Colony at this point. But at the very beginning, it was like, okay, like because they don't, you know, it's still money up front. Yeah. So it still was like quite a lot of conversations.
How many people did you first start with?
I started with 12.
You did?
Yeah. And
you were able to lock those down before the lease? Or right at the
like verbally.
Right.
Like people were like, yeah, we're in. Like you can count on us.
Cool.
There were a few, I won't name any, but there were a few big ones that I had to like before I signed the lease, I had to like go and like pull them up, like be like, we can do this, like you know, like give them like you know, there were a few that were like pretty hesitant and not sure, and you know, but I think in the end, it came together with 12. It was really, really tough the first few years. That those margins were not smiling upon me, especially because like I didn't have sales experience either.
Right.
So,
and were you? I mean, you didn't really know what the sales were going to be like, so you kind of threw a number out there and were like, "All right, we're going to try this 15% model and a small rent." But
I came up with 15% because I knew what the other galleries were charging, and I was 50%, like, yeah, straight up, 50. I think the most generous I heard was 30.
Right.
So I went lower. I actually started at 10.
You did.
I started at 10, and then I was like, I actually can't do this. It has to be more than this. So I think like a year in, I changed it to 15.
When did sales start? Pretty immediately?
Sales started pretty immediately.
Okay,
and it was our friend Michael Chen, architect.
Oh, yeah. We worked with Michael.
Yeah, he's amazing. And I always credit him because he like found us because he was like a fan of Hiroko, and he came in. I mean, I don't even think there was like furniture in there yet. Like maybe one table and like a few pieces, like this big empty room. And he had a project up on the Upper East Side that was a huge project for him at that time. And he told me that this is actually a really beautiful story. He told me that his clients awarded him the project because they wanted to make a difference in somebody's studio, and rather than hiring a larger architect or a bigger name architect at that time. And Michael wanted to take that spirit of the project and pass it along to young independent designers. So he was the first person that was like proof of concept. There are projects out there that have this kind of budget, and there are people out there who are motivated to support this funny group of like makers. Like we're kind of rough and tumble. We're not fancy, right? But the work is fancy. And like there's like this like funny middle ground where it's like the work is so elevated, but the people who are behind the work are so down to earth. And the clients who appreciate that reality and see that that's like that their projects and their homes are the manifestation of like bringing up an entire group of like an entire industry of
how kismet that it was like you were building this thing and then clients were sort of
and I learned as I went. I didn't know about sales. I would let like days go by. Maybe
were you not answering email or what?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Can you believe? Like, no. I did not know that. I was like, they have time. Everybody has time. There's time. But like,
no, you want to be on.
Like nowadays, you're like, damn,
same day response.
Like 6 hours go by, we're in trouble. We might not even get on this freaking presentation. You know what I mean? But like at the time, I didn't know. I learned all these things as I went, and thankfully, I just like I think there was a lot of luck. But I also think there was a lot of kind of I haven't like giving myself the credit of saying like the curation, like staying really, 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 really staunchly behind like the work and like finding the right work and listening to my gut about
I was going to ask you about that. Like you were really just choosing based on your taste and your passion.
At the beginning, I was choosing based on what I thought was the best time and who would take my call and who would talk to me, and I talked to a lot of people who didn't end up at Colony. But
were you finding that the designers needed, like, you can't afford early on to have a showroom? Was that really part of the what you were trying to solve for them? It's like, listen, you can't all have showrooms because that takes another level of financial.
That is basically the thing.
That was the thing.
It was like, you can't afford to have showrooms.
Let me do it.
Let us all do it together.
All do it together, right.
And by the way, you can do shows, but it's going to cost you what you're putting into this showroom for 4 days.
Right, cool.
1 year of this showroom is not even going to be as much as one of these shows.
Right.
Period. That you
I mean,
get.
it's a great pitch. I mean, it's a great
Yeah.
model.
So it worked out, and
Yeah.
it was. I think it was a stroke of genius.
Yeah.
Like
No, because I mean, I think that, you know, I feel like a lot of people have wanted to kind of execute on that kind of thing. I think that you're the only one that has truly proven out the model.
Thank
and
you.
I think that I would love to learn, like, you've learned a lot as to how to
Yes.
execute this. So there's.
Yeah. I mean, I think like I say, I'm joking. It's not
Yeah.
a stroke of genius. Like, don't come at me. But like, I think that it was a very good idea. And I am the kind of person who was willing to take the hits
Yeah.
that are necessary to be taken
Right.
to even actually fucking do it, right?
right.
Like, I don't think other people have the kind of risk analysis, like the tolerance. Yeah,
Yeah.
like people don't have that, and it's just like who I am. And
I just visited Dud House. We interviewed Chris, and he's trying to develop a model similar in
Yes.
in Philly. I don't know if
Yeah.
you talked to him about it, but yeah, and he's learning. He's getting his, he's
I
getting
don't
his
know
sea
Chris.
legs.
I know Chaz.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I was like, Colony has pulled this off, and it's
Yeah, I think they're doing a great thing. I mean,
no, they are. I like their
yeah.
stuff. Yeah, it's a different model. It's different approach,
Yeah.
but similar business approach.
I
to it.
did notice that it was similar, and
Yeah.
I thought like, but they have just they like have different parts of the business too, right? Like that. I don't know, but let's not.
No, yeah, I'm just saying. But they're attempting something similar, with
Yeah.
that kind of approach. But I think, you're the.
I think that I wouldn't have been able to do it if we hadn't started doing interiors.
Right. You started to diversify. When did you start doing interiors?
I think it was about 2 years in.
Okay. Oh, it was quickly in. You had to be like, okay, I gotta.
Something fell right into my lap.
Okay. Project.
Yeah, it was the staging project for DDG.
Okay.
And they were like, can you do a staged apartment? And I was like, yeah, definitely. And then I was like, what the? Apartment.
Using the 12 designers or however many designers you had at that time.
At the time, it was 12, or it was probably more at that time.
More,
it was 2 years. But like they asked if we would do it because they had staged. They were kind of like a big developer at the time. They had worked with Future Perfect. They had worked with some other galleries, and they asked if we would do it. And I just figured it out. I called in like all of my designers. They're all hyped to do it. We made a proposal for like a 2-bedroom in Chaco, which is in Soho, that like cast iron, like bones looking building. And they loved it so much they asked if we would do the penthouse.
Nice.
So then we ended up doing the penthouse.
Was this like a light bulb moment? You're like, okay, this is it. This is going to be part of my business model.
No.
No. Okay.
Because I didn't even know that you could like charge money for that. And my friend
really?
who is the design director was like, you got to charge money for this. And I was like, oh.
Yeah.
And then I was like, how much do I charge? I probably charge. I mean, we were untested. So it was like, we can't charge like the premium,
Right.
So I ended up charging whatever. And I don't think we made money on it, but that apartment drew in other people.
Yeah.
And some architects who don't have interiors parts of their business, and they brought us on to their projects to do interiors for them.
Cool.
And then that was really when I was like, oh, this is like, we should do this. This is like
now,
what we should do.
Do you then sell the work back to those interior? Like, is that, you're staging, but you're doing your interiors. So you're selling the work. So the designers really participate in the sales. You get the interior design fee. And then.
Yes.
Right.
So like we do staging still. info@goodcolony.com. We do staging still. It's much more of like a traditional staging situation. Like we go up against Ash all the time.
Right.
We go up against other interior designers all the time for these projects. But we do just like traditional interior design now too.
Okay.
And like we're specifying our designers. We're specifying other designers that we love. We're specifying Lulu in Georgia.
Love Lulu in Georgia.
Like we're doing the actual thing.
Cool. Yeah.
And I like to say it's like kind of a superpower to be on both sides, because now I really understand you cannot wait a week to respond to an email with a price. Like you just can't. And I'm sorry.
We try to have a same day policy.
Same.
We try. Yeah. That's.
So we sometimes fall short, but we really try.
Of course we all try. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if someone, how many designers do you have now?
We have 24.
Wow.
Yeah.
And are you at capacity? How do new designers, if somebody's like, I love this model, and I want to be part of this.
Yes.
How does it work? Take me through it.
So we get a lot of inquiries and we don't have a lot of space. So if you're a new designer and you want to be a part of Colony, my best suggestion is to send me your work. Pictures of your work. If you have like a CV, if you have a artist statement, like just send me your work and we look at everything that's sent to us. And if there's something that feels particularly right, I am not shy about pursuing that. It's not often.
Really? Not anymore?
It's tough because I feel like our collection is really well-rounded, and I don't like putting too many of our own designers against each other. Mm-hmm. This is another lesson I've learned from interiors. Like, I think it's very, very tough when, look, this is again like another thing that I am particularly programmed for that not necessarily everybody is, but like some people might just stack it, like let's stack case goods, right? And we will sell case goods. But for me, I believe in the designers that we represent so deeply that I would never want to have like a stacked category just so we can make one sale. Like I feel like it waters everything down. It waters down the collection. It just waters it down. I would much rather push my existing designers to create brand new work and something new that's in their language. So I don't know, this was a tangent, but I think that basically we stopped taking on new designers in a meaningful way.
Do people rotate out? Look, sometimes I wonder, like, the idea is that they're independent, but is there a time where they leave Colony because they've reached certain heights in their careers?
Absolutely, yes.
That the idea, essentially? Or do you
I don't know if it's the idea,
Okay.
but it certainly happens.
Yeah.
And when it does, I think we try to embrace it as much as we can, even though sometimes it can hurt because it feels like we've put so much into that, and now this person is at a certain level and we no longer get to be part. This is just the honest truth. And I think that I work really hard on myself to be the kind of person who can support somebody through that change. But I think like everyone's basal instincts is like, what the fuck? Like I did this, and this for you, and now you're repaying me by like going to my competitor, Yeah. But I think that the reality is it happens. It's wonderful that it happens. And now I'm living in that reality where I'm trying to develop a new generation of designers that are not from the 2010s generation, and trying to find designers who are like-minded and who have the talent and who we can like shepherd into the industry in a really thoughtful way.
That's through the residency, right?
That's right.
You've literally what you've done over the last 12 years is like you've taken all of the issues that designers go through, because I know it myself because I went through them as an independent. Yeah. And you've kind of like, you're like, because people don't get, you go to RISD or whatever, but you don't get educated in what it is to run a business.
Completely.
Right.
Yeah.
So then you land in New York, you got to get a studio. You're like, in the ether making work. Hopefully I'll post it on Instagram. Maybe somebody will see it.
And you have no idea what to price it at?
Nobody knows how to price anything.
Guess. Literally just like numbers on a page, I guess.
Let's see if that works, if somebody will buy it.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then, you know, they don't have the infrastructure that used to be like sight unseen. There's no fair. Everything has gotten so expensive for anyone to try to do. You know, you can't do like, you know, Design Miami doesn't let independents in. There's a whole thing going on.
Yes.
And you're saying, you know what, we're going to like form you guys into, to what it really takes to be out there. And so the residency program, it's fairly new, right?
So it's
a newer component.
Yeah. I think we started 4 years ago.
4 years ago.
4 years ago.
Okay.
We've had 3 cohorts.
Cool.
The first cohort was by invitation, and the last 2 were application interview selection. Yeah. It's an 8-month incubator.
That's so cool.
It's
tell us how this works.
So
cool.
So it's an 8-month incubator. Basically, we subsidize studio space or shop space.
Wow.
We pay for that. We employ them part-time, and then we work very, very closely with them on developing their first collections.
And there's social media involved, right? There's or advice about that stuff?
Yeah. Everything to do with your brand, studio, your brand, why you're doing this, what you want to put out there. That's all part of the incubator like curriculum. It's like it was the genesis of it was a class I taught at Parsons. Okay. And then we took it to the first iteration of it was called the Conception Series. And we worked individually with 2. I think there were 2 iterations of that where we worked individually with 2 designers separately on this kind of thing. Like, tell us why you're doing this. Tell us who you are. We will help you kind of learn how to represent yourselves as your own studio. Going from like I'm like these like really green, like really hungry makers into a design studio.
Right. Wow.
And then so we did that with 2 different
Can you
designers.
Take us through a case study that you've done? Like the one that like one of the best case scenarios that you've seen come out of the residency?
We have Ember's Studio, who is an interior designer. Her name is Stephanie Batash. She is killing it. We have... So
you don't just deal with furniture designers, but you're also
No,
mentoring.
She's an interior designer who does furniture and lighting.
Gotcha.
Through Colony. And then Thomas Yang's studio, who is like a star. He was just an AD print, and he has his own voice.
He participated in Hannah Martin's.
Yes, he had
love his piece.
The table.
The table with the rock at the bottom.
Yes.
We loved him. I put him on one of my favorites this year.
Yeah,
last year.
He is one of our residents.
Yeah, he's great.
And he is
a star.
And when I interviewed him, we were like, he's a star.
Really?
And
so people apply. And then you guys review everything and you select and you're like, it's
very hard because there's so much talent out there and there's so many.
You do feel like there's a lot of talent out there right now?
We saw a lot of talent.
Really?
We had to turn away. We had to say no to some designers that I was like,
passionate about.
This might not be the right choice. Like we might be letting go of an opportunity here, but we just
the
don't have
residency program's along. It carries on. It could go.
It could carry on. We have it paused right now because it's so taxing.
I was wondering because you get them in. You're working for you part time. I like that actually for them to see like the real behind the scenes of running the business.
Yeah,
kind
exactly.
Of thing. That's
but
cool.
The thing is like we had 3 cohorts, 3 to 4 each. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, all I see is residency work in Colony right now. We need to pause. Right. They have 2 years without the co-op fee. Runway. Wow. And then at 2 years, it's also exclusive to Colony. And then at 2 years, they get to choose if they want to stay or leave, but become actual Colony designers. And we're taking a pause because I don't want to do that art thing where you're like, this is crude. but the pump and dump thing.
Yeah.
Where you just like try to like build up these names and you don't really give a shit and you just like try to, and then when they're like less hot, you're just like, oh, okay, you can still be here, but we're not going to sell anything, you know? So for me, it's like, okay,
That's
let's
interesting. I want to just touch on that, like the hot and the cycles of, you've seen a lot of cycles go through your designers. How do you guys deal with that with your designers?
I think that it's tough.
Yeah.
We've lost a lot of designers in slow times.
Yeah.
And they just can't stay and it doesn't make sense for them financially. And that's okay. I think that.
What do you think why do things move in and out of trends that you find from what's going on? Is it interiors are changing? Is it the taste is changing? What's going on?
I think our work is not necessarily, I like to think that it's more timeless than like trend focused. And I know that's a cliche.
The timeless part?
Like to like be anti-trends. And I'm not really anti-trend, but like I think that it's just like the nature of how things have come together. But I believe there are designers that, and you probably are one of them, that are evergreen. Like there's just this appeal and you don't have to do much. You were on a PR break, you're back. Like I think that like some of my designers don't have to do, it's been years since they put out something new. They don't go on social media. They have it, but they don't go on it. And we get inquiries. We're like, how is this happening? Like, where are these people? Like, and it's,
you know what? I've wondered this so many. I'm like, I don't really do that much anymore because there's no fairs that I can participate in. We do social media stuff. Obviously, we have to always. Yeah. But I'm always like, hey, how's this kind of continue? But within my own studio, I have noticed trends of certain works that come into popularity and then kind of fade out, and then you're like, oh wow.
I mean, it really is like, is it too seen? If something has been around in every project, it's being put in every project, in every freaking color and everything, then
people get bored.
Nobody wants to see that. The designers, the interior designers who are our biggest advocates and are our biggest like assets in this industry, they get sick of it. If they're sick of it, you may as well just take it out of the collection because it's like there's no point. Give
it some rest time, maybe come back
with a new thing.
Are you pushing your designers at times in those conversations to like come up with new things where you're like, hey, listen, I think we need something, something fresh from you?
Yeah, I push my designers for that all the time. I push my designers to edit all the time.
Edit
back.
Take stuff out.
Yeah. Because I think they're all
because you're seeing you have a different perspective on that. So you're trying to like, hey guys, like we're kind of noticing from the sales side, from the inquiry side, whatever. Like, is that what's like?
It's that the production might be a mess. It's that the margins aren't worth it for them, and we're not even making that. Oh, that
happens all the time.
Yeah,
they want to make a piece that's like $12,000, and then you're like, well, how much am I going to sell this?
They're backing themselves into a corner where it's a lose-lose. So when I see works that are a lose-lose, like even if it's purchased at volume, even with our terms, and you're still not going to be really making any money, like just
that's crazy actually.
If cut it out or make it like a one of one. People
get passionate about some things that they love, but that the market doesn't always,
and it's their baby, and I understand that, and I think I try to softly remind them that maybe you can cut it out. I mean, they don't always listen to me, and they rarely do.
How you're managing all this? You've got 24 people that you're kind of like thinking about. Then you got your team, you got your residents. You just clients making like this is a robust system.
Yeah, and we have a really small team, but I think that they are all related to each other. it's not like I'm doing like this over here and this over here.
Course,
I'm doing like these things. They're all sort of like, they're all part of a Venn diagram where like the effort is related to another effort to another effort.
Do you feel like you've gotten this thing, like, you know, this business now, like you've got the
No.
handles? No.
I will say, like, we moved, my
That's so
overhead doubled.
Okay. That's scary.
The space is amazing.
It is beautiful.
And
Jeez.
thank you.
It's like,
Thank you. And I love it so much, and it was the right thing for us.
yeah.
But I think in this time of the market and of like everything that's going on, and on top of that, choosing to double my overhead, and you know, like, it's just like, it's
What is
always
going
gonna
on in the
be
market
tough.
right now?
It's just like uncertainty,
Yeah.
and maybe like oversaturation.
I would agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's people.
I don't really know how to solve that. You know, there's no real, like, I don't know how that gets resolved. Not me solve it, but how the design world kind of resolves that. And I'm not really sure how that happened. You know?
I think that we, as a collective, got here by not knowing how we were going to get here. So my theory is like, how do we get through this?
Right.
Like, there's not going to be an answer that we just, like, there's not going to be a roadmap of like, if you follow this road, you can get to the other side of this shithole. But like, I know we just have to keep going.
That's right.
You know? And like, yeah, maybe my overhead doubled and I have to like diversify again, or maybe I have to do this, but like, I'm not giving up.
Right. No, you're in.
Yeah, I'm in. This is my life. Like, am I going to go, like, what am I going to do?
No, of course not. Speaking of things about your life, you're an author.
I am.
Which is something that you said you wanted to be.
Yes.
For a long time.
Yes.
And now, you know, you have What We Keep.
Yes. Thank you for asking me about
but,
it.
Look, I don't have the book on me, but
I should have brought it.
I know, that would be
Shoot,
nice, because I
I'm
can
so
get a
sorry.
signed copy. And,
I'm going to send you one. You have to
okay.
give me your address. I'll send you one.
But what I thought was kind of cool was the framing of it, because you're kind of shifting from objects to more of the people who are collecting these things, and and I thought that there was some relationship there with how you think about Colony too.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I mean, I'm a people-driven person. Like, I think that what I'm so romanced by and like enamored with about design is its relationship with the people that use it and that make it and that inhabit it.
Right.
So yeah, I always thought of myself as a writer. I was a writer before I was a designer. I was a writer before I was a gallerist, and I had the opportunity. My editor approached me. She emailed me. She cold emailed info@Good Colony, which, I mean,
that's
like,
so cool. By
side
that.
note, it just comes to me. If you so like designers who want to,
yeah, it's like
designers.
You're like, it's me. Yeah,
like it
listen.
comes to me, but
That's so funny.
you know. Anyway, she cold emailed and was like, "Would Jean Lynn want to write a book?" And I was like, "This is for sure a scam. Like, who?"
I've gotten some of those kind of scammy ones that you're like, this is bullshit.
Yeah. So I was like, I'll take the call, but this is weird. And then like within 5 minutes on the call, I was like, oh, this is very much not a scam. This is like a very legit editor. Like, she has done her research on me and she wants me to write a book. So
That's cool.
yeah, and she wanted to, like, kind of her parameters were that should be about collections, because she thought that there was like a really good opportunity for them to publish a book about collections at this time. And I was like, definitely, yes, I'll make a book about collections. But it turned into a book about the people. Yeah.
Yeah, which is more, I mean, that's where the story gets interesting, you know. I mean, why people desire and buy these things, you know, and
why they buy them, why they live with them in their homes,
right,
why they seek them out. And then also I have makers in there, so like showing the origin of where they come from. Also, I my hope was that, you know, showing the ecosystem of the people who make the work, the people who sell the work as in the interior designers and architects and the people who live with the work. Sometimes they're one and the same.
Right.
But this is what I mean. Like, it's all an ecosystem. It's like a Venn diagram. It's not these like disparate elements.
Are you a collector?
Everyone asks me that, and I don't think I am.
Okay.
I do love boxes. I'm very drawn to boxes. I have a lot of them, but I don't know if I would call myself a collector. And I also will say I have started collecting works from people that I represent. And
I would imagine, yeah.
Yeah. So I think that that's probably
You should make it your residency. Jean gets one, one of the pieces.
The funny thing is, like,
come on.
So Nina Cho was one of the conception series designers that I talked about from the very beginning. She's a designer out of Detroit, and she made a broom for one of Michael Urinsky's shows. And I was like, I'm going to buy that broom from another gallery because I want. And then the same thing with Molly Haynes, which is the other conception designer. She made these like beautiful basket things that I was like, oh, I'll just buy that. Like, so it's nice to be able to start to acquire some of the pieces that I had a hand in creating.
Yeah. It's and then there's the story and the memory of that. Yeah. So tell me what Colony looks like in the next 5 years, you think? Where are you guys going? I mean, I did see you guys at Shelter Afternoon Light last year.
Yes.
And I thought that was interesting that you guys would do a fair.
Yeah, we don't do fairs.
I know. So that's why I was like, this is interesting that Colony. In fact, I was like taken by the fact you guys did it because I was like, oh, okay, why is, Colony?
I did the fair because I really love the women who put it on.
Right. Okay.
And I really respect them. And I think that they are doing something that is very much needed at that time in that slot.
Why do you think that? Because
ICFF is, I think that there's a world of design that is collectible, but also commercial. Like and we kind of Colony inhabits that world of like, sometimes people call us collectible design, but people are like taking naps.
You straddle, right? I call it fine furniture. I call it. There's two worlds for me. There's fine furniture, and that's the really handcrafted, beautiful stuff. Yeah. And then there's the collectible, which I believe should have, story, narrative, meaning. Yeah. It's more based on that. But those are the two worlds that I think we're always kind of. And a lot of the people that make fine furniture want to kind of be in collectible, and
and I think I'm very comfortable with where we are in that, and it's not one or the other, and like I think we can like kind of go here and go there, and so I think for Afternoon Light, Shelter, whatever it's called now, I wanted to support them in their first year. I think your reaction to us being there is, I think, what I was recognizing and they recognized was going to be the reaction of just like, oh, Colony doesn't do shows. Like, interesting. I think it was like it's a good addition to the market, and I decided to do it. But I don't think it's going to be something that we do on a regular basis, right? Because it's not really part of we've invested so much into our actual space that I just don't there's not a whole lot of additional value that I can get, especially if it was like, if we were like rolling in it and I had like all sorts of cash to throw around, we would do it. But I think that for me, when it comes down to it, it's like I would rather invest in our space. Yeah.
Do the designers bring this up where they're like, hey, should we think about doing fairs? I mean, I don't know if that's important to them.
They do, yeah. And they ask our advice about whether or not they should do it themselves. Right.
What do you say?
It depends on the designer. Some designers, I think.
And what fair? Like ICFF? Because really, like, where are they going?
I don't want to
say
shit on ICFF, but like, it's never ICFF, right?
It depends on the brand you're building, It just depends.
Yeah, it depends. It depends.
But what I'm saying is there's nowhere else to go.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I was like, let's just put some coins into the shelter machine because like maybe that will become the thing. I think that
I thought I had that. I was like, they're filling the gap of like what sight unseen ish needed. Mm-hmm. But I did do a review of the show and I just felt like I didn't want to see Colony with hinges.
Yeah.
That was and blankets.
Yeah, I saw
That's
that.
all.
Yeah, and I think that is the rub with all shows is that you need to the end of it, as much as you want to say it's curation, like you still have to sell booths. And like you can't really win in that. That's a real, I mean, you can win. But
it was so wild. Rolling Hill, Bauer, you guys. Yeah, it was. So I think if they get their sea legs, maybe they'll, they can, but yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. I mean,
I thought your booth was beautiful. And I talked to the lamp,
Alara.
Wow. We wanted what? Me and my wife were like, we should get this.
She's another residency designer who's really making some special work.
She
that was all residency designers, that booth. Yeah. And that was another reason I said yes to that, because I wanted to give them another opportunity to just run through another
scenario of like, that's cool, right?
Yeah, so I funded it, and they made the work, and it was good, and I think. But anyway, to go back to your original
the
question,
5-year. What's the 5-year plan from here? Because you'll be 17 years into this game.
Yeah, I mean, I think. I don't see the core of Colony changing. We've made it 12 years. Yeah. We've been here. We've helped a lot of designers, supported a lot of designers in their studios, in growing their studios, and I want to keep doing that. We take on many more architectural-based projects now. So I see there's a lot of growth in that side of the business where we can start doing larger interior, more serious interior design projects and some ground up buildings on the architecture and interior design side in the near future.
They gotcha. They got it. They're like, all right, I'm gonna.
I mean, the thing is, I always like pushed up against it, but I do think that is a part of the industry that has a lot of the things that I love about the work we do anyway.
Right.
So there's that. I also think that it strengthens our position as sort of arbiters, and it keeps us at the helm because we're able to put out these projects that show like this is an entire story. It's not just the woodworker. It's not just the it's not just the chair. It's not, like it gives us the opportunity to sort of like drive.
Yeah.
So that's a really big part of the 5-year plan. And what else? I think that we're working with more designers in different ways, not necessarily like representation, but maybe like helping them launch a collection, that kind of thing. Cool. We're working with some designers now. The residency is paused, but we have a couple very, very special designers that we're working very closely in a residency type fashion on new collections that are their first collections. Cool. So the mentorship and the sort of incubator spirit is still happening, but in a more sustainable way for me and my team, because the residency, we may very well go back to that model because it was very successful, but for now we're doing it in a way that feels more energetically aligned with what we want to do. So new designers, more beauty at the space, at the gallery, like always.
Okay.
And then keep an eye out for Colony architecture.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Jean, thank you.
Thank you. This has been so fun.
This has been fun. It's so good. It's so cool to catch up. After
I feel like I just see you at events. And
I know,
like,
we should pass. Exactly.
Hey,
I'm like, what?
How's it going? Hi. But it's nice to, this is a great way to just like talk.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's fun to talk about our industry, even though it's a small industry, but we're all passionate about it, and so it's kind of fun to just like dissect it and kind of just understand all the tentacles going on in the industry.
Yeah. And
so
it's fun to think about the future. As much as I love reminiscing, and it was such a special time, I think that like the energy that we have now is less because we were like boundless energy back then. Now we're old and we have less energy, but it can be more focused and more like less right. Like scattershot, you know? Like now we can be like you can be like, I'm doing a podcast because you're good at it. Let's do that and do this, and like we can be more like,
you know, it's funny. So obviously you know me as an independent designer, but I am going to be doing a gallery exhibition this year, a solo show at a gallery.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah. And it's been a lot, you know, it was, but
congratulations.
Thank you. But
that's the transition I talk about. I'm talking about is some of our designers are, one in particular, but like they are going into fine art from their practice, their design practice. And like, there's nothing to do in that position, in that situation, except be like,
good. Yeah.
You know, like that's amazing.
Yeah,
that's what we want. Like
right.
Finding ways to put your ideas out there that have as big of an impact as you can is the goal, period. You know?
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
You have to send me the invite.
I'll send you. Well, I hope we just don't pass each other anymore in the shows and say hi briefly.
Well, I'll see you at your show.
You see me at my show, yeah. And you know, I live in Hudson now. And
I know.
So yeah, it's a little
That's
bit.
why I was surprised we were doing it here.
You gotta come down. I mean, would you have gone to Hudson?
No.
Exactly.
I might have, but probably not.
Probably not.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's a wrap, guys. Thanks for joining us on Design Discord for this awesome episode. You know the drill. Hit that like button, the subscribe button. It really helps us. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and on YouTube, where you see this whole thing recorded. So please subscribe. Send us a message. Send me a DM on Instagram. I'd love to hear from you guys. So, and I will see you on the next episode. Bye-bye.